Let the folk decide. If that's what they want, then we do it. Okay?
Okay. House District 93 is East DeKalb and South Gwinnett.
Okay, so first question, what is the most difficult part about getting your job done?
It's probably focusing on the 54,000 people I actually represent. Of course, the state of Georgia has 10 million, and you would be amazed how many people outside of my district think I represent them. And I try to be helpful, but I am constitutionally required to only represent 54,000. Oh, 2020, what do I look forward to? I look forward to making a shift, even though the NAACP is nonpartisan. I am very partisan and want to see a lot more Democrats in positions of power to take the White House, to take over the U.S. Senate, to flip the House, which is one of my duties as Chief Deputy Whip, is to try to do that. So I'm looking forward to political change.
All right, so tell me your title and what do you represent?
I'm Mary Robichaux. I'm state representative for the House District 48, which is Roswell, Georgia, and portion of Alpharetta, Georgia.
Nice. Okay. So here's the big question. What is your biggest obstacle in your job in getting bills passed?
I think because unfortunately we are in the minority. The Democratic Party is in the minority. So, and especially in an election year as this is, we see the typical political games being played that while when we talk to our Republican counterparts, they will say that our bills are good ideas, wonderful ideas, but you know, if a Republican needs to carry it or this, and it's like, why is it just because it shouldn't matter? One of the bills that I'm sponsoring has to do with safe gun ownership, but it has to do with someone who has been found mentally ill and committed to a hospital. Georgia is the only state in the union that after 5 years, they can automatically buy a gun again. No other state allows that. You either have to go to court to show that your mental illness is being taken care of, or you don't get to buy a gun, but not in Georgia. And only because the Democrats are supporting this bill. I don't understand that. That to me is those kinds of things. I came here to help all Georgians. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican or an independent. We should be for all Georgians and make what makes sense. And we know 90+% of people in Georgia want these kinds of things done. We get a lot of information. The system here does help a lot, but it's still those kinds of the political games that the Republicans are still playing.
What do you see for 2020? How do you feel about it, and what do you see?
It's going to be an interesting year. It already has started. Many of us, because I really was probably the one that no one thought would win across the entire state. So I'm the #1 target of the Republicans to take back what they could claim is their seat. But I look at it that we've changed demographically, but also ideologically, and we need to continue that I think people want someone who's going to listen to all and explain where I stand. You don't have to agree with me, but we can have adult conversations about why we disagree and try to come up with some compromises. That's my life, and that's the way I think we should work together. So I think 2020 is going to be interesting. I'm waiting to see. I hope whomever is chosen as the presidential candidate, we all get behind no matter what, and we win, we take back the White House. I think we have a great chance here in Georgia to change the Senate seats. So let's do it and flip the House. I mean, we need to flip the State House.
Getting through rules and getting the bill called on the floor. That is our biggest struggle down here as legislators, and that goes for all of us.
And the prevention is, or the obstacle is personalities?
Well, I wouldn't say personalities. They only gonna pass so many Democratic bills a year. They're only gonna give you just enough to try to sway your vote to vote on something that they want. But to me, I say it like this: the bills I have, I would love to see them pass, but it's not worth me selling my pride and my dignity. My morals and my it's not worth all of that. For me to get a bill passed, I can let mine lay because I know in due time that they will get passed and they will go through, even if they take them. they still will get through. So my thing is making sure that my people are taken care of.
All right.
So I don't, because you come to me and you want to give me something, that don't mean I'm going to give you my vote. Because, I don't play them games.
Okay, and what's your positivity on 2020 real quick? How do you feel about 2020, the rest of the year?
How do I feel about 2020? Well, there's a lot can be said about 2020. First of all, we got to get rid of the president. We got to get rid of the governor here in Georgia. And we got to get rid of these people because they're not looking to make America great for everybody. They're looking to make it great for them. And we need to be able to make, as African Americans and as Democrats, when we do things, we look at the whole picture. We don't just look at African Americans. When I do work for everybody because I know that everybody should be included. I don't just set up a little group and say, this is going to be for this group of people, because it's about everyone. And that's the way all of us, when we come down here, that's the way we should think. How are this going to benefit every person that walks and open their eyes in the morning?
Well, the most difficult thing this year is not enough money to take care of the needs that we have for the citizens of our state. 2020 is an exciting year because it is a year of great possibility, and we need to make sure that our citizens participate in the census, make sure that people are registered to vote, and those who are registered to vote need to verify that they're registered to vote, and rock and roll in March, and come back in May, and come back in November, and elect the people of our choice.
District do you represent?
District 42.
42?
In DeKalb County.
DeKalb County, perfect.
Senate District.
And what is the hardest part about getting your job done?
There are so many things that I want to work on, and I'm only one person, and I don't have time to work on all of them. And that's hard because there's a lot of things that we need to be doing. And sometimes I feel like I'm jumping from one stone to another, and you have to really pick and choose
Your fights.
what you want to engage in, and that's a little hard because there are so many things that I'd like to make progress on.
Okay, and then what about 2020? How do you feel about it, and what are you looking forward to?
I think the Democrats need to come together, you know, and I think that folks need to understand, and we need to help folks understand across the country that there's no, oh, my guy didn't get it, so I want to stay home. This is bigger than you, so you need to show up and vote. Unless you yourself are a Trump supporter, your vote needs to be at the ballot box in 2020.
You know what? I thank you very much. You have a fantastic day, all right?
The hardest part about getting the job done, I know for me particularly, I can't get much sleep. Making sure that the stipulations there are going to allow for that bill to pass and affect everybody in a good way, and make sure that it's not harming people. So that takes a lot of time. I voted particularly this past year in 2019 on 417 bills, and that means you have to know about each of those bills and what it does and how it helps people. That's a lot of time, as well as making sure that we're in the district, that we're being seen, that we're accessible. It's tough, but God doesn't put any more on you than you can handle.
How do you feel about 2020, and what are you looking forward to?
Okay, sure. I'm looking forward to, particularly with respect to my job here, there's a piece of legislation, House Bill 839, and what that does is it makes sure that we are having the right companies when they come into Georgia, or for those that exist, that they're treating their workers with respect. We got a lot of bipartisan bills, and I think that's one of them I'd like to see pushed. Last I checked, about the $1.3 billion brought in by immigrant business owners that are in the state. A good portion of those are from the continent of Africa. We're working to put together a Georgia Africa Legislative Caucus to help with driving up the business relationship.
Hi, I represent District 94. I'm Representative Karen Bennett.
Yes, all right, Miss Bennett. All right, tell me the hardest part about getting your job done, lawmaking.
The hardest part about getting my job done is not having enough elected or not having enough registered voters to get out the vote to be able to support some of the democratic policies that we have tried to enact.
All right, and then tell me how you feel about 2020 and what are you looking forward to?
I feel great about 2020. I'm looking forward to more people getting out to vote. I'm looking forward to the census 2020 in March so that we can get more people counted. And so I'm just looking forward to a change in November in terms of our leadership so that we can continue to be able to serve and to do well and do good in the communities that we serve.
Beautiful.
I represent the 88th Legislative District, which is DeKalb County, Georgia. Well, the hardest part is that there are so many needs, there's so many issues, there are so many people who need our help that trying to get it all accomplished in the time frame that we have sometimes is overwhelming. But on the flip side of that, the best things about the job is being able to help people and seeing some of those issues addressed to alleviate some of the issues that our constituents have.
Beautiful. Okay, how do you feel about 2020 and what are you looking forward to?
Well, I will tell you, these past couple of years in particular have been particularly stressful so far as we've seen an uprising of what I believe is racism. We've seen an uprising of not being hospitable to folk in the public sector. I'm seeing 2020 hopefully will be the start of where we can get back to civility.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for your time. Tell me who you represent.
I'm PK Martin. I represent District 9, which serves parts of Gwinnett County. I think the hardest part's time management. We're a citizen legislature, so we have our personal lives, we have our family lives, our professional lives, then we also have our time here and dedication here in the legislature. But it's also very rewarding to be able to help people, to be able to deal with issues that folks face, and it's always makes you feel good when you're able to tackle issues that are important to people.
All right, and how do you feel about 2020 and what are you looking forward to?
You know, I think 2020 is going to be high energy. I think it's going to be a good year to engage with people and to be a lot of good conversations that are had as we're on the campaign trail in 2020. And I'm excited to talk to as many people as we can and be engaged.
Thank you very much.
State Representative District 56, Atlanta, Fulton County. Well, the most difficult thing I find is that the process down here is so partisan. Republicans, working with Republicans, Democrats only working with Democrats, and so it's a situation where it's not as much across the aisle in order to get bills passed. If we have a good bill, Democrats have a good bill, they should not have to have their bill taken by a Republican just to get the bill passed. If it's a good bill, if the Democrat has it, either we get some Republican sponsors on it or we just get our own sponsors. It's a good bill, pass the bill. But 2020 is going to be an exciting year, and even though people may be slow coming on to get, as far as really getting hyped up for it, but it's going to be big because as close as it gets to November, when you actually got to vote for the President of the United States and 2 United States Senators in Georgia, it's going to be really exciting. I'm going to be a part of it in some way, and look out for my name. About getting laws passed is being in the minority.
Being in the minority.
That's easy. That's the hardest thing about it.
All right, what are you looking forward to this year?
I want to see several things. First thing is I want us to get rid of some of these budget cuts that are being talked about. And I want us to, as a state, have a chance to vote on destination resorts. Let the folk decide. If that's what they want, then we do it. Okay?